So here I am having those conversations that I know we need to have, but you're hesitant to have them. And I'm happy to start the conversation for you and then let you take it where you need to. And the person having the conversation on the ABCs, it's about personal security, is actually a personal security expert. His name is Trevor Mimano. You need to find him. If anything in this conversation makes you think, okay, I need more, find him, all right? Let's talk about awareness.
So awareness is really the most critical part when it comes to talking about your child's safety and how to keep your children safe. And awareness, as I would define it, is really having a deep relationship with your children. A relationship that they know you love them and that they can trust you.
Okay.
Right? So you need to know what's going on in your child's life, period. But there's three things that I would look at when it comes to awareness. And one is, your children need to know that if anything happens to them in the course of their life, no matter the incident, the situation, whether it's an accident, whatever it is, that they can bring it to you and that you will not only listen to them,
but you believe them.
Loving them.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So they should be able to bring anything to you. But beyond that, they also trust that you can give them smart solutions. And this is really something that's born out of experience. So your children will very rarely listen to what you tell them and take it on faith. They'll actually...
just me.
Yeah. What they'll do is they'll watch the way you conduct yourself and the way you live your life, and then they model themselves accordingly. So if your child knows that, yes, they love you, you're their mom, you're their dad, but you can't give them solutions to their problems, they might love you, but they may not bring stuff to you because they've seen you mismanage your own life, so they don't trust you to provide a solution.
Wow.
And the third part of that is, if your child, your daughter specifically in my instance, if she ever needs to defend herself for any reason whatsoever, she knows that I will have her back.
Okay.
Regardless.
Okay.
Against all odds, no matter who's coming against her. If she has to use this information, if she feels under threat and she does something to protect herself, she knows that I will stand by her no matter what.
Okay.
So those are the three pillars of awareness.
Okay.
And this is important because of something that you alluded to earlier. Most of the threats to your children's safety will not come from the violent criminal actors.
No.
They will come from the CDOs, the character disordered individuals.
Yes.
And when these people are in your life and you know them, you just know the people that I don't want to associate with you. When these people are in your life and awareness is missing or in some way deficient, if they're looking at your child as a potential victim, they will interview them to find out how deep is your bond.
With your child?
With your child. So they want to know, how close are you to mom and dad? If I do something, will she tell?
Yes.
If she tells, will you believe her?
Believe her.
Right? And if the answer to those questions is no, then your child now becomes a target.
Write it down. Write it down. That is so crucial.
Right.
They will interview your children.
They will interview your child as a potential target. And if that bond isn't there, if unequivocally your child can't bring stuff to you, know that you will back them up no matter what, then you've just committed the greatest mistake as a parent, because your child is now vulnerable. She's isolated and she has nowhere else to go.
It's true.
And if something happens to her, it'll be too late.
When you spoke to the group of women at Women, Words and Wine, and you were talking about awareness as well, you talked about awareness as individuals, that listening to your gut and being alert. I want you to go into that.
So human beings are animals. We're very, very good at surviving. Your entire DNA has brought you this far. If you're still breathing, you've done a good job at surviving because you know what the risks are. You know how to navigate life. So awareness is not necessarily learning some new technique. It's just paying attention to what's going on when you're in your environment.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
If someone gives you a bad vibe, for whatever reason it is,
listen to it.
Listen to the
Trust
vibe.
it.
Listen to the vibe. And I get this a lot with women who've had a physical assault. They will always come back and say, there was just something about that guy I didn't trust. Right? And it's usually the context. Either they approached you in a way that you knew wasn't quite normal. Maybe they singled you out in a street or in a parking lot, or they really just insisted upon having this protracted conversation with you. And instead of taking the risk of being a little bit impolite, tell them, go away, or get the hell away from me, we decided to be polite and just, I don't want to be rude, I don't want to be considered as being, a little bit rough around the edges, for women especially, being impolite. And that's when the drama happens. That's when people take the cue off, causing physical assault.
And you did say, number one, learn to be very aware of what is happening inside you and then around you. And I've always said this, your gut knows what you don't know.
your gut actually knows what the problem is. It's just your rational mind hasn't gotten around to articulating why there's something wrong.
Yes, I call it the ticklies. It's that feeling in the back of your neck. It's called...
Yeah, you get a little warm, you get a little tingly, a little bit tense. You don't quite know why it is you're feeling this way.
Yeah.
But trust yourself. That's usually the first indicator. I would rather every woman takes the risk at appearing impolite.
Yes.
I would rather they do that because any reasonable man out there would, wouldn't take it personally.
Yes.
Than risk their own physical safety because they didn't want to seem rude.
And they didn't want to believe what their body was saying.
Yes.
Yes. It's like, and when you tell somebody else, there's just something, what's wrong with you?
And resisting Kenyans like to say, it's not that serious, or it's never that serious.
It's never that serious. Apparently, it is.
Yeah, when you start to rationalize it
Yes.
and something happens, then you do realize it crosses into dangerous territory very quickly. But the other thing I'd like to say about just being aware of your surroundings. I see young women all the time in the city who've got headphones on.
I know.
Strolling down the street. And for me, it drives me nuts because you've taken away one of your primary senses to detect if something's happening around you. And there's videos that, we study of people just walking up behind a woman who has headphones on and just knocking her unconscious on the street and then just taking stuff from her. But it's because she's got no concept of where she's at and what's going on in the world around her. Please don't wear your headphones on the street. Save that for when you're in the office. Save that for when you're in the house.
Yes.
But not when you're
And it can't be both buds. I mean, I remember somebody told me the other day, because it is clear that I walk around with my Bluetooth hanging around, but I always have one piece tucked here and one in here.
Exactly.
I'm like, but I gotta have access to my ears.
Yes. Because your ambient noise,
is a big deal.
It's a big deal. You'll hear stuff coming.
Yeah.
You might hear it before you see it.
That's called awareness. Boundaries is the next thing we need to talk about. And for this one, you need everything, including a quiet room, because Trevor doesn't pull any punches when he talks about boundaries. The ABCs that you need to teach your children, and that also you need to be aware of, because by the way, you can't teach what you don't practice or know, okay? The conversations we need to have that you're uncomfortable having, but we must have, all right? Subscribe and come on back.